What is going on, guys? It's Adam and Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we're going to go over a whole lot in a short amount of time. The phone lines are open tonight. The number is 224-400-MARF. That's, again, 224-400-MARF for the only call-in show somewhere. Today's show is brought to you by NordVPN. Remember, get 1 year free when you get 2 years with NordVPN with marfooglenews.com/VPN. Special savings code Marfoogle. Supports the channel and protects yourself. All right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a lot to cover, so we'll get right into it. Of course, if you're new here, you can follow along on a second device or grab your laptop or your TV, and of course, go to marfooglenews.com. In fact, it's very easy to navigate. You just look for this thumbnail right on the front page, and then you will see that you have all of the links from today. So every single article, every single tweet, every single video, every single picture, we make sure to let you know exactly where we get it from, so you know exactly where your news is coming from. Again, a lot of people do not do bibliographies. We do. That way you can absolutely know, where it's coming from and how it is angled. Again, you can probably see most of that just by seeing the head of the headline. On top of that, we make sure to clarify if it's opinion. If we do miss it every once in a while, make sure to just holler at us and say, hey, that sounds more like an opinion. Again, if you want to support us on the right side, all of our affiliates are there, NordVPN, EMP Shield. Our PayPal is over there if you want to support us more than just sharing and liking, which, by the way, we never ask, but it really would help right now. There's been a slight change once again, so they're doing all sorts of weird things with the rhythm. So if you can, like and share this to a family member, it will be useful to them, I promise. We have done a lot in a short amount of time, and I think people are starting to realize that we are onto something. Let's bring in my co-host and internet brother, Dex. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So there's also web-only content. Dex is programmed down at the bottom. You can actually look. This is content that is either basically too far to one direction or something that we can't cover while being neutral. I do believe news should be generally neutral. It shouldn't have, so much opinion that it's just straight up a direction, right? So anyways, that's all at the bottom. There's some pretty shocking stuff down there as well. And then, of course, let's get right into the news. Thank you, everybody that's already here. Thank you, Grim TV. Says, always look forward to your shows. You're awesome, Marv. Thank you, Grim TV. I really appreciate that. And looks like that might be a channel, so I will have to check you out. Stephen Utley, thank you for pledging on Patreon yesterday. I appreciate that. Total Vagabonds, again, thank you for being the last one out. And then over on DLive, thank you, everybody. Midair miracle. Planes collide in Colorado, but no one dies. This is absolutely insane. If you look at the image of this, you would think that this would be more of like a cleanup effort. But apparently it says that two small planes collided mid-air over central Colorado on Wednesday morning, and remarkably, the 3 people survived. Like, this is a true miracle. This is like beyond a miracle right here. It says, well, this could have gone much worse. 2 planes collided mid-air in central Colorado on Wednesday morning. Remarkably, the 3 people involved in the incident, 2 pilots and 1 passenger, were unharmed by the harrowing ordeal. It says, according to the local reports, the 2 aircraft were flying over Cherry Creek State Park in preparation for the landing at Centennial Airport when they crashed into each other, leaving one of the planes nearly severed in half. This is, of course, the picture of, I'm guessing, was this on? No, it says midair. It almost sounds like, they were on the runway and the nose of one hit the other, but this was actually in the air, Dex. Like, how does that even work? That is a true miracle if I've ever seen one. It says a single-engine Cirrus SR-22 with a pilot and a passenger on board deployed a parachute to help it land roughly. What? I guess I didn't know. I'm not an expert on these smaller planes, but I didn't know that they even had parachutes. It says that, but safely for about 4 miles north of the airport located in Inglewood. It had reportedly just left the airport an hour prior to the run. And then, of course, it says to Fort Collins, and it was on its way back from the errand when the collision took place. So absolutely just miraculous that these people are alive. I do not know how this works. I don't know how. I would love to see like an animation of how this actually happened, because even with a parachute, like, does it fall straight down? Does it fall like this? Like, how did that even happen? Pretty wild. And if you really want weird and absolutely just kind of mind-blowingly, head-scratching crazy, they have a rat problem in Chicago. So somebody's bright idea is to release over 1,000 feral cats to end reputation as rat capital of America. So they have a ton of rats, and that their solution is literally go get Tom to catch Jerry. This is the actual plot of the new Tom and Jerry animated film, where they basically have a rat problem in the hotel and they go, well, let's go get a street cat, right? This is actually happening. It says Chicago has released more than 1,000 feral cats. These are not home-owned, these aren't tamed cats. These are just, feral cats onto the streets, hoping to end its long-running ranking as the rat capital of the U.S. It says the Cats at Work program came to light after the Windy City was named by pest control company Orkin as the rattiest city for the 6th consecutive year, with the Big Apple being third after Los Angeles. So I'm actually surprised that Los Angeles is worse than both New York and Chicago. That should say something right there, considering that is not the same kind of city and downtown area. Actually, that's kind of shocking. It says the Treehouse Humane Society hopes its program will help replace rats with cats, insisting that it's also kind to the felines who would otherwise face long stays in shelters and often even euthanasia. These are feral cats who wouldn't thrive in a home or shelter environment. So they're basically saying that these cats are, some of them crazy, some of them just not friendly with humans. And, of course, they're releasing them in the wild. Do they feed them afterwards? I'm sure that is a question here. And, again, it says, and rather than just randomly released, they are put into outdoor colonies with a registered caretaker who makes sure there is food, water, and shelter. In most cases, the cats are better cared for after placement in the Cats at Work program than they were before. This sounds like community service for jailed cats. This is literally that. What do you think about it? Would you complain if this happened in your neighborhood, or would you be happy? I'm a cat lover myself. I'm a cat and dog lover. We have both. We love our cats like nothing else. I'm just surprised that they would release them out. Do they? Do they think all of 1,000 are going to go back to their caretakers, or are they going to go cause more problems than they actually were solving? As far as feral cats going out and spreading, I wonder if they actually neutered them and spayed them. I would assume so, but it actually does not say in this article. Sir Budrick says, this just in, Chicago plagued by rabid cats. In other news, yeah, exactly. That is something I would say. If you have a super-powered hole puncher / valuables, get some wide PVC pipe and end caps. You can stick anything inside that will fit and bury it in your garden. A good tip from my mom. That was a comment from Uper Viking and a super chat. So thank you so much for your support. And then Gone Girl 777 coming out and throwing bows says, hi all Adam Dex mods. I can't stay. I'm sick. Have a cold, flu, or something. Well, Gone Girl, the flu actually does not, nobody gets that anymore because of the masks. I just need to sleep feeling rough, shared everywhere. Love you all. But that's actually a fact. In my county of Washington, there was 0 cases. Quite incredible. It's miraculous. Not as miraculous as 2 planes hitting each other and nobody injured, but absolutely amazing. And then we, of course, have Asia Pacific Taiwan hit by a power outage, works to restore supply by evening. Now, I covered this early in the morning. I not only got an email, I was already up from a call from one of our friends. It was my well, I shouldn't say who it is, but it was a high school friend of one of my family members, and they said that they all of a sudden woke up because they felt that there was no power around them. And then they ended up calling their family members over there, and they said that they were out too, and they were, 15 miles away. So I think that a lot of power went out. They said about 16% of the entire, nation of Taiwan. Dex, do we have an exact number? It did say it was a certain amount of million out of the entire population.
Yeah, it was something like 16%, like 4 million out of 24 million, something like that, I believe. It was a lot. And it hit a lot of different areas. And some companies, like the semiconductor company, they had some ripples in their power, but they didn't totally lose it. But in other places, we're completely out.
Now, oddly enough, it said the world's biggest contract chip maker, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company Limited, said some of its facilities suffered a brief power dip, but power had been restored. Now, if you know the whole deal with Taiwan and everything that's happening there, of course, China is posturing its not only its rhetoric, but also the lines of boats that it has. It's basically trying to take the South China Sea, and then it also wants to take back Taiwan. This is something historically they believe is a part of mainland China, and they have been basically talking like they want to take back over. As far as we have absolute proof that they have made an entire replica of the Taiwanese Capitol buildings, and they are actually drilling and doing military operations to practice taking that over. Now, if that is just pounding their chest, that's one thing. It's more of like a move that you would see from Russia, and they would highly publicize it. They didn't highly publicize that. That was kind of leaked out, and then from satellite images, let people know about that. So, and then they've been doing more and more jets. They've been bringing now a record. It was like 33 jets and boomers over Taiwan or into Taiwan space, into their basically into their zone, their economic zone. And that's a lot of jets. That's a lot of planes. That's like something you would see out of a conflict movie where you see all of the planes flying over and it's about to get invaded. That's what they're practicing for. Now, as far as what official narratives say is that they're at the edge of this, and they are basically trying to tell them to come back, and if not, they will eventually get Taiwan back. That's a big concern because of this manufacturing company. It just so happens that the pipeline, the gas pipeline that hackers knocked out half of our infrastructure on the East Coast, that was resumed, and then a day after they have a giant power outage. Now, they said it was because of, it said, the government has a grasp of the situation, Cabinet spokesman Lo-Ping Cheng told reporters. Citizens, please remain calm, and there's no need to panic. I wonder why they even had to say that. It says all units of the Jacinta power plant in Kaohsiung were shut after an incident, Low added, without giving details or identifying the cause of the outage. It says utility Taipower said that more than 6 million homes, so this says 6, that would be more like 20%, were hit by the outage, which it blamed on a technical failure at the power plant. So that is a giant amount of people. We had one of the worst storms we have ever had in 30 years here in Seattle, and 2 million people went out. This was 3 times that, and they don't actually have an official reason. Again, that semiconductor plant, who knows? Was that a target? Was this something that was cyber? That's what we would like to talk about. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say hi to D-Live here. I just wonder, can you guys let me know, by the way? Susie P., thank you. Johnny Fringy, keep up the great work. Adam, Dex, and Mods. Meat Puppet, Bear Claws, Lurker1, Pam Beth, that Chalky Gal, thank you. Akarushi, Renegade Petey for being here. Great Conspiracy. Peachy 1093. We've got Scooby-Doo Do-Right. And Miss Me V2 is in the house. What is going on? Now, did you guys have to have a little clicker before you came in? Just if you could let me know in the chat. And then YouTube, we've got all sorts of great people. CJ Blaze, Maria Jones, Barefoot Lass, Getting You All, Island by the Sea. We've got Lindsay C., East Tennessee Preparedness. We've got thousands watching, so thank you guys all for coming today. I really do appreciate that. It says the economic ministry said it was working to restore power supply by evening. The main international airport near Taipei, the CAP, and the high-speed rail were operating normally, the transport ministry said. Fire officials said that they were responding to more than 200 reports of people trapped in elevators, most of them in northern Taiwan. So that would be freaky if you're in an elevator trapped. Dex, we don't even really think about that, but if there's a massive power outages, how many people actually get trapped in elevators? That's 200 different cases of people being trapped in an elevator for who knows how long. And that would mean that they have to be rescued basically by fire department, or, if they're in between floors and able to open it somehow, if the owner is there, how does that even work? Let's see here. Had to fib and click the mature audience buzz. Dixie Doe, well, thank you. See, we worked, we talked to staff and we were good up until yesterday. So I don't know what's going on with that. Trapped in an elevator. That is pretty good. By the way, everybody on DLive, make sure to subscribe to YouTube. If you are not subscribed onto YouTube, make sure to get over there now. Make sure to get over to YouTube. All right, there's 3 channels. There's Marfoogle News, there's Marfoogle TV, and then there's Marfoogle Jams for the outro stuff. So make sure to get over there today, or if at last tomorrow, okay? All right, thank you guys. I really do appreciate that. Just make sure to be subscribed, and then always click that all button, that all notifications button. And then if you want to go a step further and help us, we're going to talk about this further, but first off, I do want to recommend that you check out our sponsor and affiliate, EMP Shield. Again, this is something that can actually protect you against a real EMP, an electromagnetic pulse. All 3 phases of it, in fact, E1, E2, and E3, and it can protect you against CMEs or solar flares up to 228,000 amps. It also protects your house or car, whatever device you end up getting, against lightning. So it's a lot cheaper than even a deductible if your house gets hit by lightning once. You can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Now, there is a contest running right now. There's multiple ways to enter, including daily bonus entries. You can actually enter every day. Just go to marfooglenews.com/contest. We're actually running this with Israeli News Live. They're doing it as well. So one of the things will be just to make sure that you go over and sub to them, sub to us, sub to a couple other channels. And that's how it works. It's really easy. You don't have to spend a dime to enter. That's, again, marfooglenews.com/contest. We have them doing another one. So very, very awesome of them. Susie P., thank you, Mama of 6. I really appreciate that. Cassie Lynn, Roaming Wolf, JT Waters, and then East Tennessee. Thanks again for being here.
Hey, Adam.
Yes.
Did you know you can actually save money if you have the home model? Some people can. You can actually save money on your insurance. I didn't know this until today. I was looking into it. I
didn't know that because I had it in the apartment, and that definitely wouldn't work there. But
right, but if you own a home and you pay homeowners insurance, if you have the home model, because it's a lightning and surge protector as well, you can actually get a reduction on your insurance. It depends on your insurance company, but a lot of them do it. So for those of you that have it, y'all should look into it and see if you can save yourself some dough.
Well, thank you, Dex, and appreciate that. Again, affiliates like them help us do this show. We do anywhere from a 2-hour to 3-hour show every time. We have devoted to ads less than 5% of our show out of the whole time. I know that not everybody likes that, but that actually helps us support ourselves. Both Dex and I, we're doing this full time, and we do a lot of work into it. Again, I don't think people actually know how much we do and how late hours that we do. So thank you. In fact, I did not get any sleep last night after that. I barely got sleep. So you can even tell when I have been awoke, or when for 7 months I had, we've had the newborn, It's finally getting to sleep through the whole night. But you can tell I stutter, I say things wrong. I just mess up left and right. Because I'm a human being. I'm a real human boy. Colonial Pipeline paid hackers nearly $5 million. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let's see if we do have Noah, first-time caller. Let's bring in Noah, talking about the tankers bringing gas and shipping containers with possible boom booms. Dex, if you want to get him in, I'm just going to say thank you to Short Circuit, the Feast of the Ascension. Thank you.
And Adam, we're trying to get Noah on the line. 1 second.
Okay, perfect. And then Grim TV says, I'm in Virginia and went to the pump 2 days ago and got 15 gallons of gas, and the pump started sputtering and ran out of gas. That's something that I bet nobody is. I've never experienced that, where you actually run the tank out. Debbie Masters, thank you for your support. Eric Smith, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. You can always write something there as well. All right, and then I'm going to go over, while you're getting them on.
Adam, let's go to the next caller. I'm going to get Noah back online.
Okay, that's fine. So the next caller is Joho Fu, and he'll probably tell me actually how to say his name right for once. Fuel hauler, insight on restocking the pipeline from Missouri. Joho FU, you are live.
Hey, how's it going, Adam?
So have I been saying your name wrong this whole time? Is it Joho FU?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So you're a fuel hauler, is that right?
Well, I'm a retired fuel hauler, and I just wanted to call in and kind of give like a breakdown on how this whole thing is going to work, like getting the pipeline back up and what's all involved in it. So basically what happens is down in Houston, they're going to pump all that gas into the pipeline, and as it goes up through the pipelines, it gets distributed to all these fuel racks and these tank farms, but it don't go directly into the trucks. They have to take it and then blend it and add their additives, because you got different additives for different gas stations. Like Shell's got V-Power, Chevron's got Techron, but they also have to blend it, and so there's detergents in it, so that takes time. But then they also have to cut it and make super, mid-grade, and regular. And on top of that, they're sending diesel. And how the pipeline works is, so they send a bunch of gas, and behind that they'll have what they call a pig that separates it, and then they can have like another 100,000 gallons of diesel behind that. But every time they do that, they have to run a cleaning agent through it. So you'll have gas, and then a section where it's cleaning it, and then a section where diesel's coming through, or crude oil, or what. But that's all going to take time before that gets onto the trucks, as far as being able to get out to the gas stations, because there's not a gas station in this country, I believe, that's on a pipeline at all. So we're still looking out a few weeks.
So the trucks go to a main place where they do have the pipeline, and what? Did they line up? And then I've seen those trucks. Do they top load? Does it kind of pour into the tank from the top?
No. No, it's they pull into a fuel rack, and you got all these hoses that are hanging from the top, and you connect them to your different departments. Like most of your fuel trucks have 4 to 5 different compartments where you can haul different products. So it's an arm that comes down, and then you punch it in a computer, say, I want 3,000 gallons of unleaded in this tank, and I want 1,200 of super in this tank, and then my whole trailer will be diesel, something like that. But also, I'm going to ask you, too, because I used to do this up there in Washington, in the Seattle area, and I want to say it was like 2007, 2008, they had a Shell pipeline go down up there out of the ports. And if you remember, all of Western Washington, all the Shell stations, and a lot of the 7-Elevens all ran out of gas, and that was down for about a week and a half. You remember that?
I do. I think that I had maybe my first or second car. I think I had a Honda Accord, and it lasted forever. And I just remember that my full tank that a family member got me lasted throughout the whole thing. I actually do remember that, just because everybody else was like, oh, I'm out of gas, or I can't get gas. And I had gas because I had this little, 30 mile per gallon Honda. Yeah, and I
on top
didn't
of
drive.
that, you got to you got to remember the rules on the truck drivers as far as their how much they're allowed to drive, which I do think that the government is going to lift that and let them go over their hours, because that's what they did for us back in Washington back then,
So
we could drive more.
So that is why they're talking about lifting restrictions, right? So they said in 17 states that they would try to take away those things. So you're saying for the next couple of weeks you might have drivers working 16-hour days or something?
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of scary at the other.
11 hours.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they'll get rid of that 11-hour rule, which is as much as you can drive in one day without an 8-hour break. But they'll probably lift that until it's all caught up. But I'm thinking it's probably going to be, because it took us a good week and a half to fix that one in Seattle, and that was just local companies. Now you're talking about the whole entire East Coast. So this could take quite a while, I think.
Well, and people are doing really stupid things. I don't know if you saw this, but people are putting gas as a fuel hauler. Would you ever put gas in one, in a plastic bag, but two, into a grocery plastic bag? Would you ever do that?
No. The static electricity that you can generate off that plastic bag blow you sky high.
Yeah, and that's why it's not even just stupid, it's like dangerous.
Yes. That's like they say, don't ever fill a plastic fuel can in the back of your truck, because it could have static electricity. That's why you have to set it on the ground to fill it.
I actually did not know that. So somebody else probably learned something right now as well. Well, hey, thank you for calling in again, and I appreciate your insight. Maybe we'll if we can, keep your number if there's something fuel related again, which of course we're going to have a lot of shortages and things like this. Maybe we can give you a call.
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked in the oil field, the gas industry. I've been a commercial diver. I've worked offshore. So I've been in the fuel industry quite a long time.
Well, thank you so much for your insight on this, and it really is helpful. So thank you so much. Joho FU, I appreciate you calling, and we'll talk to you next time, and don't be a stranger, okay?
All right. Thanks, Marv. Bye,
all right.
fam.
Nice to meet you again. Bye. That was Joho FU. I really do think that was that is very interesting. So what he's saying is this local thing that happened here, which I remember from, 13 years ago, that was really bad. And that wasn't nearly what this is. So I just wonder if we're going to have, gas outages for the next 3 weeks. All those people panic buying didn't make it, easier either, because everybody got way more than they needed, and now, people are being so dumb. There's pictures of people with garbage bags, plastic garbage bags. That's not even the worst. Filling them up to the brim to where, these are, lock leak bags or whatever. Not even lock leak bags. These are like the cheap dollar store plastic garbage bags that you put liners in. Filling them up with gas and putting them in the trunk, not like 1, 2, but like 8, and filling the entire trunk of their car, all stacked like water balloons in their trunk, which is like the dumbest thing ever. And then there's actually people taking little, regular size plastic bags and filling up those plastic bags and tying them off. First off, anytime I get one of those bags, it almost always has a hole in it, which it's just like super dumb. But like he said, that causes static electricity and can blow you up. I don't know why these gas stations aren't. Maybe it's just because they're so busy that they can't sit out there, especially if it's a gas station with one person. But it's like, if you do that, you should get a fine for stupidity. No sympathy for somebody who thinks that's a good idea. And not only that, they're trying to sell those plastic bags. They actually have posts already of people selling grocery bags of gas. These people are beyond just, idiotic. Like, that's crazy. What's even crazier is Colonial Pipeline had the hackers paid. They did pay nearly $5 million in ransom. Now, I'm looking at all of this with a kind of sideways eye, because first off, the entire thing was weird to me. And they didn't affect any computers that had Russian language on them. That was like a prerequisite of their hack. Not only that, they also left an apology or apologized through the dark web saying that they're sorry, that they apologize. They didn't realize it would have this kind of social impact. I mean, this stuff is crazy. Maybe they thought they would be paid sooner. I don't know. But to me, it sounds like something else is going on right underneath our noses, and people are just kind of eating up what is put out there about it. Just like the power outage, most people heard something. I heard there was somebody said, "Oh, it was just an accident at the plant." That's the official story. Go for it. That's cool. But I will say this: are authorities asking questions? Because that is an actual asset to the United States. That factory that makes those chips, that chip conductor factory, that is an asset. That is pretty much one of the biggest reasons why we have Taiwan's back. We do not want China getting Taiwan and that factory and everything else. I don't know why it's one of the only factories that makes this kind of chips. I don't understand that. It doesn't make too much sense. Dex, do you know why they're the only place? Is it because they have natural resources that nobody else does? Why in the world is there not 50 of these plants around? Do we know?
Well, I think part of it is the investment that was made there to grow it, but also probably has to do with the labor and the costs. So you couldn't just pick that plant up and put it in America and be able to produce chips that would be economical, right? So there's materials, there's equipment and machining that they've done, and all the technology that they've built over the years to make these chips. And it's not just a chip that you just make and all of a sudden, it's the fact that these chips evolve so fast. So they've invested in all of this technology, to make these chips smaller, lighter, faster, to do more and more. Every 6 months they're doing more with a microchip, right? So that investment is pretty heavy on the manufacturing side over there, and that's why you can't just say pick it up and move it real easily. I mean, you certainly can. It just won't be as cost effective. And I'm sure labor probably plays a lot into that as well. So
this is another thing that I think that is just culturally we don't even talk about, is the fact that almost all the countries in the world, that a factory like this can affect the whole world. But nobody talks about, everybody's talking about fake meat and all this, but what about the human beings that are basically being paid peanuts to make all of our cell phones and all of these chips? It's like almost everywhere. It is a capitalist thing to get the cheap labor and to basically get the cheapest labor you possibly can. In a lot of ways, I support capitalism, but at the same time, it's like, what about the people? You had Nike that had basically children making their shoes. You just have situations like that. You had Apple. Apple has one of the worst problems with suicide at their factory. They actually put nets up at one of Apple's factories. And correct me if I'm wrong in the chat as well, but I believe it was one of the Apple locations that actually had...
Foxconn, wasn't it?
What was it?
Wasn't it Foxconn?
And is it something that makes parts for Apple?
Oh, yeah, they make them for Apple and a lot of other people, but yes.
And it was such bad working conditions that people would jump from the building and basically take their own life. But not only that, so many did so that they put a suicide net around the building. Like, that says something. That's like slavery almost. I mean, if that is your other option, it doesn't even sound like a voluntary job. I don't understand it. If you were in that kind of situation, see, it's like if you were working a job like that where that is the scenario, it's like I could see that person wanting to come to the U.S. But somebody in another situation, I'm just like, what the hell?
It's definitely a balancing act, right? Because a lot of what you're talking about was in China or is in China. I don't remember which province that a lot of that happens in. But when you think about the culture there and the fact that they're bringing in as many people as they can from the rural parts of China to actually start working and produce product, right? So they're giving them jobs, but it's a balancing act, right? Because you don't want this scenario where people are in such a bad mental state that they don't enjoy their job, but you're also getting people that are coming out of a village and now can live in a home and make a living. And I get it. Yeah. Like the pay maybe, $1 a week in USD or something like that. I don't know. But it's extremely lower than here. But if you turned around and took all that and put it in America or put it in Europe or put it somewhere else and said, okay, make it.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's going to buy a $5,000 cell phone or a $6,000 cell phone because that's just what it would cost. Right. So, as the economics sort of have to evolve, those things are going to happen, but it doesn't make them right. Right. It certainly doesn't make them right by any means. Nike making shoes with, and having all the hoopla that they had about those factories, that shouldn't happen. But ultimately those are creating jobs. It's got to do them the right way,
Yeah. So little Timmy can bring home a nickel to his family. Kelly2334, thank you for the Ninja Guinea over on DLive. I appreciate that. And thank you guys for clicking through that disclaimer there. Susie P, gotta go. Well, catch the replay. Love the Foogle fam. Susie P, thank you. And if you already left, thank you for coming back and watching the replay. I know that a lot of you watch the replay. Just a big thank you to the replay watchers. DD59, thank you. Susie Q82, thank you. High Strangeness, Scooby-Doo Right. Thank you guys for your support over on DLive. I appreciate that a lot. Cat24 and everyone over there, thank you so much. Duckhawk is in the house. So it said that this company paid in cryptocurrency, paid the hefty ransom in untraceable cryptocurrency within hours after the attack, underscoring the immense pressure faced by the Georgia-based operator to get gasoline and jet fuel flowing again to major cities along the eastern seaboard. It says once they received payments, the hackers provided the operator with a decrypting tool to restore its disabled computer network. The tool was so slow that the company continued using its own backups to help restore the system. One of the people familiar with the company's efforts said. So it sounds like the hackers even set up the recovery after they got paid to be a pain in the ass. It says a representative from Colonial declined to comment, of course, and it says the hackers, which the FBI said are linked to a group called DarkSide, specialize in digital extortion and are believed to be located in Russia or Eastern Europe. It says on Wednesday, media outlets, including the Washington Post and Reuters, reported that the company had no immediate intention of paying the ransom. Those reports were based on anonymous sources. Basically saying that, yeah, they said, oh, we're not going to pay that, but they're like, that was based on we don't even know who that came from. They paid it. They paid $5 million, which, I don't know how many people are involved in this group, but what if that was one guy that took that thing down and now has $5 million in untraceable money? That's the crazy thing. Dex, how does that work, though? You can just pay somebody in Bitcoin and nobody can trace it? Can the government trace it? Like, there's no way to tag it or anything?
Well, so technically you can trace the transaction from one wallet to another, but there's a lot of things that can be done. And that wallet can be created brand new, so you don't know who's using it. And then from there, it can sort of be washed, right? They can then transfer that, in small denominations into other types of currency in lots of different places and basically wash it or launder it as they refer to it. So, it is traceable, but there are ways, very technical ways around it.
One thing that I've never got, and you are a Bitcoin person. There's a lot of people that are into, at least you are knowledgeable about it. You've done Bitcoin stuff. And I know that lots of our audience are just totally about it. It's a community now. It has people that it's their niche. Crypto Batman, if you guys haven't seen him, he, of course was Goose Wayne on DLive. He has now gone over and made a whole niche out of doing cryptocurrencies and Dogecoin. And people love it, and it's also a community. It's almost like any other community. They have like their family, right? They all talk about the coins. The one thing I don't get about this though is nobody truly knows. They have the one Yakarushi or whatever his name is that might have started it or something, but nobody still.
Satoshi.
What is it? Satoshi?
Yes.
Yeah. So they think it's this or whatever, but there's still no absolute, who made the damn thing? Could somebody just turn the whole thing off one day and people say, no, you can't because of how it works? But how do we know that? Do we know that for 100% sure that somebody couldn't turn it off?
We know that, but but the other way to look at it, you're talking about just one coin of thousands that are in the ecosystem. And while that one is very significant, it's about $1 trillion of value of the $2 trillion or $2.2 trillion market. But there's another 1.2 trillion of coins that are made from all different companies like Ethereum or Litecoin or lots of others that are out there. Dogecoin,
I know, but
made by different groups, right? So they're all independent. So
but I get that. But so say just Bitcoin, right? Could somebody have the key to that and turn it off one day? Is that impossible, or is that possible?
Yeah, it's technically it's impossible in the sense that it's built as a distributed ledger, so it's actually running by lots of people out there. And it's the way it's built, it doesn't work that way. It's not centralized; it's decentralized. So therefore, there is no central key that somebody can just say, "I'm going to turn it off."
I still don't understand how they wouldn't be able to put some sort of backdoor in it. I don't understand it, but I know that you Bitcoin people are like, what an idiot. That's fine. I don't know about it. Again, I think you're getting into the very technical minutia, and a lot of people don't need to know about it or don't, it does get very technical when you get to that level. But, fundamentally, if that was the case, there wouldn't be as nearly as many trillions of dollars that have been put in this, even from Wall Street and others. Right. So, that's long been vetted. It just, I don't know. It seems like even it is somehow traceable, right? The only thing is it makes everybody go to digital. Instead of cash, handing somebody cash, now they're doing Bitcoin and their transaction is digital. Dex, I know that off the show we could probably argue, and I'll not. I somehow I don't agree no matter what. I think that it's weird that everybody's going digital for everything. But
the digital aspect is certainly something that a lot of people hem and haw about, and I totally get it. And
I would rather have a silver or a gold coin physically and know that I have that. You know what I mean? Yep. I don't know. I've asked a lot of people about it, and I've even asked Crypto Batman. I said, I'm trying to figure this thing out. I don't know anything about it. I don't know enough to know about it, but I do know that their community is like just the most, as long as you're down with the coins, it's like they're extremely helpful. Everybody wants to help everybody else because they want to genuinely get that, ball rolling.
Not investment advice, but diversify. Little crypto, little gold coins, little stock, put your money in lots of different places, and then you have the benefit of riding waves and not being crushed when one falls down. So, but not investment advice.
Well, like, what was that comment? Basically, put stuff in a PVC pipe and bury it. So, speaking of financial advice, let's give Ohio some, right? They're about to give $1 million out randomly to residents that have had the ding-a-dingy in the Army. It says, as health officials struggle to persuade hesitant Americans to take the Ohio Governor Mike DeWine introduced a plush new incentive Wednesday, $1 million cash payments randomly doled out to 5 lucky Ohioans who have received at least one of the V's. This is like, okay, nobody sees the problems with this. Like, there's a whole list. Dex, I don't know if it was you that shared it with me or my wife, but there's a whole list that the state was doing. It was like, you get a free gym membership, you get this, you get that. Of course, there was the dumb stuff like, oh, you get a free donut a day for life or whatever if you get it. Whatever Krispy Kreme did. But then there's like actual big stuff. Why?
The mayor of New York today was eating burgers and fries, saying you can get a burger and fry.
Do you see what I mean?
It was the dumbest video I ever saw.
So there's going to be, I guarantee you, there's going to be a couple cheap people that are so cheap that are going to go from one restaurant to the next, to the next, to the next, and then go to work at a gym that they get their free membership from, and then go to Target and get their free T-shirt, and go over here and do this whole thing because they got the thing. Why do they need to try so hard? If they're trying to give away stuff like this, I don't get why people are in a hurry. It's not like there's any shortage of appointments. I that's the only thing. My mother-in-law was just pressured to do it because the people at work did it, and it's like, if you're solid and stay by yourself, it's like, at least see every new week there's been something coming out. I don't know.
Well, Cat came out with a new carrot today too. Their carrot was you don't have to wear the covering anymore if you have that in buildings.
Is that across the country?
Well, that's their recommendation. So I guess then that turns around and we'll see what comes from.
Not in my state. My state will do it until 2030. Elon Musk says Tesla has ended car purchases with Bitcoin. Now, I have seen a big theory about this, and what they say is that they're more concerned about the environment. And why is that, Dex? Why are they concerned about the environment because of Bitcoin?
Because there's this whole notion of what's called mining. And so the way the ecosystem works is there's all these computers out there that keep it up and prop it up, and they mine. And the fact that they're using so much electricity to mine it, it's gone up dramatically, obviously, with the skyrocketing value. So the amount of energy used has been astronomical lately, and he's sort of looking at it and saying, and this is what he's put out there, is like, well, as long as they're going to continue to be inefficient and waste electricity mining this, then we're not going to do it anymore. He's not selling it. He's saying he's holding it, and he'll do it later when they bring down their costs.
Okay.
And stop wasting electricity.
Okay, and this is like a turn from over. You know what a lot of people think that this is that he does this publicly. Anything he does, just like when he tweeted and said, personally, in my opinion, I think Tesla stock is too high. What happened? Tesla dropped $14 billion. The stock dropped. His rich buddies picked that stock up, and then, of course, it launched because they were about to launch this big new vehicle and all this other stuff that they were talking about. And they probably just got 5 government contracts doing batteries for backup batteries and things like this. So that of course, gave people, a lot of people bought right after that drop. Then the Tesla went back up again. A lot of people think, and this is just a theory, and I actually kind of agree with it, is that he's doing this to drop Bitcoin. Then his rich buddies go in there and buy it, and then it goes back up again. Do you think something like this would make Bitcoin drop?
Oh, it did. It went down, like when he came out, the entire crypto market went down something like, 17%, 20%. I think it leveled back to like 9%. I don't know what it is right now, but this was last night. So
imagine if you have $10 million though. Your rich buddy's got $10 million. They buy $10 million worth of Bitcoin right after it drops, and then wait a couple days and then flip that, possibly making back, millions of dollars. I don't know.
Yep.
Or billions.
And then he came out today and was, pumping up Doge again, which, he likes to do. So he obviously can move markets with a single tweet. It's kind of crazy that he's got that much power.
Well, think about this. He could move the market of Bitcoin so much with one tweet that he could then take as part of his $180 billion and go buy $10 billion of it. And even if it changes 10%, it goes 10% down and then goes 2% back up, he could then flip that and make billions of dollars. That's insane. It's like, that's why I don't like the different markets. It's like somebody says one word and it drops.
But he did publicly state that they were not going to sell any of their holdings that the company bought, which is, fair enough, right? Like if he didn't say that, or he was selling it and then buying it back,
he was doing enough to drop it. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, certainly his words will cause it to move. The question is, does he do something with the coins that they own? Maybe he's got stuff on the side, or like you said, his friends and everyone else have stuff on the side, but he's holding his.
Well, Dex, let's get the next caller on. We have looks like we have Well, actually, did we ever get Noah, or Noah dropped out?
Noah dropped out. He had to go back to work.
Okay, that's fine.
We've got Major Lee.
Major Lee. We've got Major Lee talking about the ransomware attacks in 2015 from Seattle. He's a local. What's going on, Major Lee? What's going on?
Hey, Adam. How's it going, man?
Hey, how are you? So what's happening tonight? What'd you want to talk about?
I'm good. So just in light of everything going on over on the East Coast, so to back up a little bit, I've been doing IT for about a decade. And I noticed that whenever I bring up any sort of technical, even halfway technical terms with people, most people's eyes just glaze over and they're somewhere else, right? Like immediately. They just don't get it. That's fine. But along with that is such a big, issue on the forefront of the news and everything going on that it would behoove people to do some research and to find out more about this stuff and dispel some myths, but also wake up to some really kind of harsh realities. I like how Edward Snowden put it. He said, "There's no such thing as safe, only safer." Right. So you talked, I think, last night about kind of how the ransomware would work, like how it works, how it shuts these businesses down. And I wanted to kind of bring up the Petya. It's called Petya, and then I think like 6 months later there was the not Petya ransomware attacks that were devastating. Petya was the first one, and they used an exploit created by the No Such agency, those guys, called Eternal Blue. And it acts as basically a digital skeleton key, if you will. That's just, it gives you keys to the kingdom, right? So Petya was kind of primitive. It was the first one, and it had to be like sent out in emails, like spam emails or whatever. But then a little while later, there was the not Petya, and it looked very similar, but it was a lot more extensive. There's a lot more to it, a lot more tools. And how it would work was it was like the Petya ransomware, but combined with a worm. So it was self-propagating. And so it would, as soon as it got into a network anywhere, it would just move in real quick, and throughout that entire network. And so I would encourage people to do some research on it, because there's a ton of information out about these now.
So you're saying it's like a cancer cell in the computer?
Basically, yeah.
Now, let me ask you this.
But the NotPetya was particularly nasty. Yeah.
Well, so it's something like NotPetya. Do you believe that how dependent we are with our grid and everything else, do you think that we're at risk right now to have a much bigger disaster than the pipeline?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the more that these networks connect to each other and intertwine, the more at risk it makes us. There's a story a while back about a casino somewhere in Europe that got hacked and lost a ton of money. The hackers got in through their fish tank.
No way.
Right, through their IoT fish tank. Yeah, I kid you not. Because as a hacker, as soon as you gain access to the network, any part of the network, from there you just pivot around inside the network and move to whatever machines or whatever devices you want to own. Yeah, like I've been studying like cybersecurity stuff and hacking for about 4 years or so now, and I'll be honest, man, and like not to freak people out too much, but the more I learn, the more it scares the ever-living you-know-what out of me, because it's so easy and the tools are so accessible and they're free and there's videos and tutorials galore that anybody that wants to, that has a little bit of patience, can learn this stuff and have access to tools to completely own people's lives. when your life is in your computer, it's in your phone, and it's so easy. It's scary.
And by the way, I just pulled up this story, and it says, quote, the attackers used a fish tank thermometer to get a foothold in the network, she recounted. Then they found the high roller database and then pulled that back across the network out of the thermostat and up to the cloud. Think about all the smart devices in your home and around, and the ones that you connect to at work and the networks that you're on. That this is like, it's absolutely crazy. And now we know that they're connecting our grid. It's all connected across the country now, and now they are making it, all intertwined. And then the Internet of Things. Yes. This is stupid.
Yep. As I like to say, security is the S in IoT. Right? Because there is no S in IoT.
That the Internet of Things. Yeah, there's no S.
Yeah, it's scary. Yep. There's no S. There's no security. It's pretty bad. But like the VPN, like NordVPN is awesome, and it works wonders for security. Like that's huge. Using a VPN for everything is really important.
Do you know why though?
If you're on like open Wi-Fi at a coffee shop.
Why does it do that?
So how it works is it basically takes all of your network traffic. So like if you're at Starbucks, say, and you type in google.com. Now, if you're not connected to a VPN, your computer is going to talk to the router and then talk to the internet, right? To say google.com. Now, as a hacker, it's super easy to set up what's called like a man-in-the-middle attack or an evil twin, which basically your computer, it's awful, but you can make your computer appear to be the router, look exactly like it, all of the same everything that is the router. It copies the router and then kicks everybody off the network for, a fraction of a second. And people don't even notice, really. It's that quick. But then their devices all automatically link up to or reconnect to what they think is the router. But it's not the router. It's your computer who's then talking to the router. So now all of that traffic is going through your computer, and you have access to everything. Their passwords, everything. Now, if you're using an encrypted tunnel, a VPN, now it takes that google.com search that you just typed in, and it encrypts it, right? And puts it in a tube, basically a secure tube, and ships it directly to NordVPN server. And then from NordVPN server, then it goes to google.com and then back. So basically takes all of that and encrypts it and is like a direct link up with NordVPN servers.
So if anyone was to get screwed over, it would be their server, right? It wouldn't be you.
Yes, exactly. And all that a hacker would be able to see is okay, this is all encrypted. I can't read it. I can't decipher it. And it looks like it's going to the NordVPN, or it's going to this server, in Europe or wherever. They have servers all over the world, but so they can't see what it is, and all that they can't see where it's going other than the NordVPN server. They can't see that you're going to Facebook.com. They can't see that you're going to Google.
See, this is why we think that we only do stuff that helps people, and you obviously just explained exactly why. Well, thank you again. Thank you for calling in, Major Lee, and appreciate you. And again, I hope that it sounds like you have been looking into it, and I'm glad that you realize. I think that we are due for a massive event that will not be matched. We're talking a major event, and people aren't going to, it's going to slap everybody in the side of the heads. So I hope that we can get it out to as many people as possible, that you need to have stuff ready for the worst case scenario. And if you do, you'll feel a lot better. And when worst case scenario happens, you'll be in a much better place. Well, thank you, Major Lee Stoned. I appreciate you calling in, and don't be a stranger, okay?
Yeah, you got it, Adam.
All right. Have a good day. That was Majorly Stoned. You know, that's what you know, most people will say, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so they can do stuff. The thing is, I think a lot of people automatically, they save passwords. They do a lot of stuff that they don't realize that they're doing. And then there's some people that have, you know, pictures they shouldn't have on their computer, or, you know, pictures that they don't want anybody else to see, or something else. And people can hack in and use that. So... or they'll, yeah, I heard last week there was a story that a woman got hacked and all of her like kids' pictures were put out on the internet. Like, you know, this is why people are so freaked out now. It's because you take a picture of, you know, a girl playing in the, what do you call it? Slip and slide, and then it ends up getting hacked and put on some creepo website. I have 3 daughters, so I guess we're super protective, especially now with all of the weird things that have happened. But at the same time, it's sad. Like when we were a kid, we could go out and play kick the can. Now that's like unheard of. If you ever played kick the can when you were a kid, that's like you can't do that anymore because, you know, you'll get abducted. It's really sad how times have changed so drastically in the last 25, 30 years. That it's not even the same world. We're in a different world right now, and that's what I'm saying. It's going to get worse. Mark my words, we're going to have a serious issue happen, and people are not going to be ready for it. You're going to be ready, I hope. It's not hard to see coming. It's right there in front of us. Okay, now this... Netanyahu rejects Hamas ceasefire plea after 9 of their commanders were neutralized. It says that Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a peace offering from Hamas as Israel today deployed troops along the Gaza border in preparation for a possible ground invasion as both sides exchanged relentless bombardments. It says more than 600 Israeli airstrikes since Monday have leveled Islam's bases and, of course, slain 9 top commanders, including the Hamas intelligence chief, their lead missile designer, and their terror boss in Gaza City. It says Hamas offered a truce last night via the Russian Foreign Ministry, requesting a ceasefire on a mutual basis after they launched more than 1,600 rockets at densely populated towns and city, killing 7 Israeli civilians. It says, but Netanyahu has vowed his troops are committed to a long operation, which will only increase in force despite international outcry at the growing death toll. 83 have been killed on their side, including 17 children, because they don't have the Iron Dome. Remember that. It says troops were today ordered to the border, of course, in various stages in preparing ground operations, a military spokesman said. It says a move that would recall similar incursions during the Israel-Gaza night of 2014 and 2008 and 2009. Meanwhile, is facing an internal crisis with air and running amok throughout the streets, with actual reported and buildings torched across the country during nightly riots since the conflict erupted. So, sounds like they're about to start a full-scale conflict. Most of the time, you hear stuff like this, and then it chills back down. I don't know, though. With the current climate and everything else that's going on and how they've got this set up, what's even crazier is has set up this passport system over there. And then, of course, everybody is following and abiding that, and then this kicks off. I wonder if at all that this is going to play a part of anything. Now, with this, there's also some backup information on this. It says that the Pentagon has removed 120 U.S. military personnel from Israel out of abundance of caution. It says the Pentagon on Thursday confirmed reports that it had pulled 120 military personnel from Defense Department Press Secretary John Kirby said that the U.S. Central Command and U.S. European Command staffers flew aboard a C-17 military aircraft and arrived in Ramstein, Germany, earlier on Thursday. It says, "We made this decision to remove these individuals in coordination with our counterparts." So they're talking to them, and they're saying, okay, so we should get our guys out of there now, huh? Maybe because they don't want to have them accidentally taken out by something during a full-scale event here. I just see what is also being said on all the networks, including, there's even CBN and how they have it kind of postured, and all the news networks really saying these different things about it. It's really, I've seen both sides of it. Either way, it's no good for all of us as just civilians. This could possibly bring all of, everybody else into it. This is the Holy Lands here. So pretty crazy stuff. And then just one last thing on the AI. I hate covering this because it's just getting worse by the day. AI learns to type on a phone like humans. It's just creepy. It's just creepy. The AI model can simulate how a human user would type any sentence on a keyboard design. Ugh. We've got Russ, a first-time caller, and wants to talk about Energy, the energy company in his location. Oh, wow. Let's see here. Dex, let's get on Russ, first-time caller.
Hey, Marf.
Russ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just great.
So
I live in the Missouri area, and Evergy is the electrical supplier here. Now, just out of nowhere, they sent out a letter to all of the Evergy customers offering surge protection. 3 different levels, from $5.95 a month to $9.95 a month. I called and asked if they protected against the E and the C, and no response, no comment.
So you're saying this was the actual energy company that was doing this?
This is the electric supply company. It used to be Kansas City Power and Light, and then they merged with some other company and it became Evergy. And they're the ones who are offering it to us.
So is this something?
But they won't say anything about lightning. Lightning is the only thing they want to talk about.
But not for EMP or CME.
Okay, well, I wanted to make sure those were okay to use those.
No, those are fine.
But no. Okay. No, they have no comment about whether this would protect against EMP or CME.
But so they
I thought that was a little odd.
They're going out of the way to talk about lightning, though? Like, do you guys have, I guess in Kansas, you probably have a lot of lightning, right?
Yeah, in Missouri, we have lightning. Of course, our lightning's better than Kansas, but, that's okay.
But what you're
That's
saying,
an old rivalry.
did you specifically ask them if it covered that stuff?
I did indeed.
Well,
I have no comment.
That's just weird. I don't know. That's what's the difference between the levels then? What do the different levels do?
Supposedly, it's just levels of protection, how much they'll cover.
Oh, okay. Like life insurance. Like if you pay more than
like life
if it
insurance.
Does more damage than 200,000, 300,000.
Correct.
I get what you're saying. See what I mean, though? It's like I bet you there's a big deductible that's probably more than just the protection that would have stopped it in the first place. So, yeah. No.
Yeah, I was going to ask my insurance company about that.
So, well.
To be honest, that had never come to mind.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, but I hope you, Russ, I hope you're looking into different options, and I hope that you understand I hope everybody understands that everybody should just be responsible and have extra stuff. And that means also telling your neighbors to do so too. Because guess what? And don't, everybody says that they, they'll try to help as many people as they can when it happens. But there's also protecting your family. And if people know what you have, you're the first person they're going to go to when it happens. There's a difference between, helping as many people and getting, robbed.
Especially because the church I'm a member of is well known for preparedness and food storage. And a lot of my neighbors know that I do have a calling in our church locally to work on those items, try and get people motivated. And it's really what I've been doing most of my adult life.
Well, I hope you get as many people as possible on the right track. Well, Russ, thank you for calling in tonight. And again, it's your first time call. Don't make it your last.
Okay. Thanks, Marv.
All right. You have a good day, Russ.
Thank you, sir.
And then Russ, if again, it just looks like it already cut, but Russ, if you can, find out if they have a website or something. I would love to look at it. As far as the plan that they're offering, why are they offering it? I think Russ's point is he thinks it's weird timing that they're offering protection against surges. Like, is something going to happen? I don't know. But what I do know is, there's a chance that a EMP shield or any surge protector might not help us because it might be a digital scenario. That should be known that the EMP device only protects you against EMP and CME and lightning, but it doesn't protect you against these hacks. That's what's kind of scary about that is it's like, if the whole grid goes down, the one thing that you can say is that, if it's an EMP grid down, then you can have your generator. As long as you have gas in a generator, you can then restart all of your stuff, including your home, your devices, everything. But if you don't have protection, then everything is fried and you'll never use it again. I just wonder what the heck is going on right now, especially with that Taiwan power outage is really, really fishy to me. I think that's small in comparison to what we will have. So just don't say that you weren't warned. And when you don't have water and food, people have said that we haven't. We've actually predicted a lot of different stuff, and not like in a psychic way or anything. We looked at what they were releasing as far as government documents. We've shown you like the NERC, the reports, everything else that has been released. Our affiliate is of course, a government contracted company. They work with DHS, Department of Homeland Security, DOD. Again, we have tried to get as much information as we can just in general on that subject. But also, we've talked to experts on this, and also we've called other things in that. If you remember from the government data that we gathered from public sources, we were able to tell you guys 4 months before we had this face covering event. We specifically told you that they know something is coming and it's going to be huge. And it was related to wearing the coverings, and it was called a P to the An to the Demic. So we've warned you now. We're a goofy show, but we actually do have a true purpose here. Dex.
Adam, you remember the hack in the water system where they added stuff to the mix?
Yeah, they turned up the
so
chemicals.
The whole notion of creating chaos in a system like this is not necessarily, doesn't have to be just turning it off. I mean, they could be turning it off by destroying it in a way that causes surges and jolts and things like that. So, there are other. I'm not trying to say you got to have a surge protector, right? But I am saying there is a scenario that somebody could, hit the system and it could cause a problem in your home, in your, not in your car, but in your home, right?
Exactly. Now, do you want to mention some of the web-only content here?
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of additional content on the website. Some things like we continue to talk about what's happening in the Arizona and other locations. I did add the mayor of New York, so go take a look at that video he did. It's just kind of crazy. And some other good stuff that we don't really talk about or can't talk about here, but interesting things that you should be paying attention to on no matter what side of the coin you're on. Just head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail, and go down to the web-only content.
Now, that first one is very important to go check out. Yeah, pretty huge stuff. Anyways, so we'll talk about that at another time. I would hope that everybody is watching and paying attention to those news stories. We have Tabitha Kelly. Thank you so much. Says, always remember the creator is in control of all things. Don't panic. Just be prepared. Love you guys. Have a fantabulous evening. Sir Budrick says, filling up with mayo jars with gas equals accidental Molotov. I heard about that too. It wasn't a mayo jar. Somebody was filling up a... what do they call them? The ball jars, the actual ball glass jars. They were filling it up with gas. Like you said, that's a accidental Molotov. And Doc Bill says, and Bezos just bought a $500 million yacht with its own yacht. So he bought a yacht that has a yacht. Just so much money. That's not even $1 billion of his $180 billion. He can buy a $500 million, enough that anybody could live so comfortably and pass down a wealthy family. That's something he can throw away like it's nothing. It is infuriating to normal people like us, you know? It's like he could make 500 people rich for life just with what he can throw away on a yacht. What happens to crypto when we get a huge CME and all electronics get fired? We just had a G3 solar storm, which may have contributed to Taiwan power outages. Much love, Foogle fam, says Free Life Task. Now, Free Life Task, I don't know either. I don't know enough to know about it, and I'm trying to get to know about it because it is important. It's the future, according to everybody. That and fake meat. And then we have Granny C says, be prepped up and prayed up. Love y'all. And then Undercover Prepper, thank you so much for the massive support tonight. Candace Thompson says, lots of oil tankers on trains running here in central Indiana, even before the pipeline shut down. Usually trains only run during harvest. We can hear them around the clock now. Candace Thompson, that is strange. Maybe do some civilian journalism and go figure out why. And then Short Circuit again, thank you. Nip478 Georgia, thank you for subscribing there. And then we've got TMDM, thank you for subscribing as well. If you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Latu Fams, thank you, and thank you for subscribing. And everybody that has joined us tonight for our show. And I really do appreciate it. Peace and love, Diana Moses. Thank you for your super chats yesterday. I believe I missed you. And then... thank you, Stephen B, for your PayPal contribution. Thank you, Willie C, for your PayPal contribution yesterday. And then, again, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for going over to PayPal during the show and says, I just love your show. Thank you. If you can, read out a message. Happy birthday to Devon. Happy birthday, Devon, and thank you for supporting. I hope that helped. All right, and then if you want a message read like that, you can always support over at PayPal as well. And then make sure to go check out our website. All of the information is there. Now it is officially time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
Morphia bad James for A2 and thorough sing I love you out of the woods and lady mouth. I can't get used to that smell. Starletty, Cassie, Lynn, and Rin. I got the mercy one. Everybody wanna have fun. Edgy, well on. Mighty on be wild mine. Oh now, guys, seeing bear claws going right down in New York. All run and they nod until they're hard. Be down and you're never gonna see. Might be a wild Buddha in the Mystic Sea. Kelly 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4. Gonna bring you more. Thank you, End Times, for your massive support tonight. End Times is our #1 over on D-Live. Thank you, Gone Girl 777, for being #1 over on YouTube. Grim TV for being #2. And of course, Uber Viking for being #3. The chest is redistributing right now. Luckiest followers: 1, number Bear Claws; 2, Joanne F. Chandler; 3, Island by the Sea; 4, number Stewie; and 5, I Love Beagles. Have been just ringing all day. Cali 233, Cali 233, 4. Cali 233, Cali 233, 4. Cali 233, Cali 233, 4. Cali 233, Cali